Paragraph 1. Very soon after my return to Baltimore, my mistress Lucretia died, leaving her husband and one child, Amanda, and in a very short time after her death, Master Andrew died. Now all the property of my old master, slaves included, was in the hands of strangers who had nothing to do with accumulating it. Not a slave was left free. All remained slaves, from the youngest to the oldest. If any one thing in my experience more than another served to deepen my conviction of the infernal character, infernal means evil, of slavery, and to fill me with the unutterable loathing means strong hatred, of slaveholders, it was their base, which means without moral principles, ingratitude to my poor old grandmother. Paragraph 2. She had served my old master faithfully from youth to old age. She had been the source of all his wealth. She had peopled his plantation with slaves. She had become a great-grandmother in his service. She had rocked him in infancy, attended him in childhood, served him through life, and at his death wiped from his icy brow the cold death sweat, and closed his eyes forever. She was nevertheless left a slave for life, a slave in the hands of strangers, and in their hands she saw her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren, divided like so many sheep, without being gratified with the small privilege of a single word, as to their and her own destiny, and to cap the climax of their base ingratitude and fiendish barbarity means evil, cruel act. My grandmother, who was now very old, having outlived my old master and all his children, having seen the beginning and the end of all of them, and her present owners, finding she was but of little value, her frame already racked with the pains of old age, and the complete helplessness fast stealing over her once active limbs, they took her to the woods, built her a little hut, put up a little mud chimney, and then made her welcome to the privilege of supporting herself there in perfect loneliness, thus virtually turning her out to die. If my poor old grandmother now lives, she lives to suffer in utter loneliness. She lives to remember and mourn over the loss of children. Mourn means to be sad. The loss of grandchildren and the loss of great-grandchildren. Paragraph 3. They are, in the language of the slave's poet Whittier, gone, gone, sold and gone, to the rice swamp, dank and lone, where the slave whip ceaseless swings, where the noisome insect stings, where the fever demon strews poison with the falling dews, where the sickly sunbeams glare through the hot and misty air. Gone, gone, sold and gone, to the rice damp, dank and lone, from Virginia hills and waters, woe is me, my stolen daughters. The hearth is desolate. Hearth means the area by the fireplace, also used to mean the home in general. The children, the unconscious children, who once sang and danced in her presence, are gone. Unconscious means unable to realize what is going on. In this case, the children don't know how bad their grandmother's life is because they aren't there. She gropes her way in the darkness of age for a drink of water. Instead of the voices of her children, she hears by day the moans of the dove, and by night the screams of the hideous owl. All is gloom. The grave is at the door, and now, when weighed down by the pains and aches of old age, when the head inclines to the feet, when the beginning and ending of human existence meet, and helpless infancy and painful old age combine together, at this time, this most needful time, the time for the exercise of that tenderness and affection which children only can exercise toward a declining parent, my poor old grandmother, the devoted mother of 12 children, is left all alone in yonder little hut before a few dim embers. She stands, she sits, she staggers, she falls, she groans, she dies, and there are none of her children or grandchildren present to wipe from her wrinkled brow the cold sweat of death, or to place beneath the sod her fallen remains. Sod means where dirt would lay with grass on the ground. Will not a righteous God visit for these things?